Hey y'all, welcome back for another meal prep therapy session. So today we're doing a turkey meatball, and we're gonna do some spaghetti or some zucchini spirals with that. We're also gonna do a curry okra as our vegetarian option. And we're also gonna do a interesting take on a chicken noodle soup. So for this chicken noodle soup, you can use noodles if you like. I am not. I actually want to try this with spaghetti squash. So I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 and go ahead and cut this in half. Now this can also be used for spaghetti if you'd like. In fact, I may use parts of this because I don't think I have a lot of zucchini squash. So I may do that. But I'm just going to cut it right down the middle into halves. And put a little olive oil and put it in the oven so that it can bake. So hopefully you can see that it breaks down easily. And once it's baked a bit, we're going to see that it's going to be a lot easier to just fork it and it kind of comes out like spaghetti. That's why they call it, spaghetti squash. So my oven is preheating. I'm going to pop that in. I'm also going to do my weekly prep, right? So I did also want to roast zucchini since I don't have cucumber. So I'm going to put the zucchini in there as well this week. I do have some celery, and we're also going to use some celery for the chicken noodle soup. So I am going to go ahead and start prepping that. And of course, if you all have tried any of these recipes, let us know how they turned out for you, or if you made any adjustments, let us know. We love hearing about that. So I have my celery here, and like I said, I'm just going to cut it into thirds because this is my meal prep for the week. So there we go. That's done. But I'm still going to need more celery for the chicken noodle soup. So just keep that in mind. Oh my goodness, this is a small snack bag. But I kind of like it because it helps me really portion it out appropriately. So for me, this works. Also gonna boil a couple of eggs. So if you're new here, that's about a cup, that's nice. I like to make sure I have snacks on deck as well so that I'm not tempted to eat things that maybe would not help me feel my best. So it helps to just have these different things right here. There we go. Next we can do the okra, just because I like to start with things I know won't take very long so I can feel kind of accomplished, and that kind of motivates me to keep going. So my okra has been freezing, so I'm also going to boil a couple of eggs. I have one left over from last week, so I'll probably just boil like 3 more or so. I'm also going to need an egg for the ground turkey. I'll take one out for that as well. Oh, cat. Okay. So you'll want to heat some oil in the skillet for your okra. And hopefully it's already defrosted. garlic infused olive oil for this. Make sure you shake it up so you can actually get the garlic to come out with the oil. So, we're doing an okra and mushroom curry, which requires us to cut the top and the bottom off of the okra and then slice it lengthways. I think I have cilantro. You'll also need cumin and coriander for this. If you have a curry mix, more than likely that already has those things in it. So you wouldn't need that again. Okay, and I'll put mushrooms. I got onion. All right, so here we go. So mine may look a little dried because they were frozen and I just started defrosting them, but usually they're a much more vibrant green. So I'm just going to slice them in half. And honestly, this isn't going to take very long to cook. So I really like okra in soups because I kind of like the slimy part, but a lot of people don't like the slimy part. So you can also fry it so that it's not as slimy. And you all know I love using my air fryer. We are going to use the air fryer today. So, and I'll need another egg for that too. Also, if you want to make this hotter, you can use chili powder. I don't have jalapenos, or else I would use a jalapeno here as well. And I might actually add some spinach to this too, since this is going to be my entree. Or even green beans. Anything green would probably work out well here. You could also add some nuts if you want for an additional protein boost here. So I know that this week or last week was a big week of love in America for people with Valentine's Day and all of that. And for me, cooking is a way to show love. And when I cook for myself the way I would for other people, it's showing me that I value myself too. When I use quality ingredients as I can afford them, that helps me feel better about myself too. And I think we sometimes don't think about those things, right? You know, sometimes we just eat what's convenient, you know, or we say, well, I'll do all this extra prep for other people, but not for myself. And sometimes I think it's nice to just be able to ask yourself, well, why don't I do this for myself? You know, because our body needs nutrients and our body, and a lot of us really enjoy food. So why wouldn't I do this for myself? You know, am I saying that I don't have time for myself, but I have time to do this for other people? And sometimes I think we even unconsciously do send those kind of messages to ourselves. And it's intentional things like this. Prepping every week. Taking the time to make quality meals for ourselves. That sends a message that you matter, that you're loved, that you deserve a great meal. So, you know, while I enjoy doing this, it's even more of, for me, an intentional practice of showing self-love. So it's just kind of something to think of about when we do things. Are we doing things out of love? And who are we doing those things for? Of course, it is great to show love for our communities and our families and our circles of support. And we also need to show love for ourselves too. I don't believe it should be one or the other. And oftentimes it ends up being that way, unfortunately. So that's just my spiel on it. But I'd love to hear how you all engage in self-love practices. Because it's one thing to say we love ourselves, and it's another thing to really show that we love ourselves. So, you know, I did a video on our Instagram page at French Fam, and also on our Facebook page, French Fam, where I talked about understanding tension and conflict and paying attention to those things for yourself as a way to learn about yourself and express an interest in who you are ultimately. So if you haven't checked that out, I would encourage you to check it out. But I think it's just really important that we spend some time getting to know ourselves. And sometimes when we cook, we learn more about ourselves because we learn, hey, I do like this flavor, or no, I don't like this flavor. I was talking about in the video earlier that as we age, you know, our preferences change. So growing up, I didn't really like okra, and my mom only made it really one way. And I think it was more of that I didn't like that style. Now I like that style, but I also recognize that I can use okra in so many different ways based upon how I've learned to cook over time. So I've learned something about myself, but if I just assumed, oh, I didn't like this before, I probably won't like it again, then I would really be missing out on a moment of enjoyment. So, we have the okra. I'm going to slice up the onion. Actually, I believe I have a piece of onion already. Okay, there we go. So, I'm just going to slice this. I'm not going to dice it because I kind of want my bowl to be a little more full than where it might be. So I like to thinly slice it and just put the rings in the pan. So there's my onion. And this is actually an African dish. So in honor of Black History Month, you know, this is just, okra has been a staple for my family, and also within Black culture as well. So it's nice to be able to highlight that, particularly this month. Can't get another slice there. The last main ingredient here is the mushrooms. And these are already sliced bellas, so I don't know if you all can see them. Yeah. Rinse them out. And I'm just going to put like a cup. And you can keep them whole, you can crunch them. whatever works for you. The rest of the mushroom's going to go into the spaghetti though, so. Oh, it smells so good. And I'm going to use the rest of my cilantro. There you go there. So. I don't know if you all find this satisfying or if it's just me, but when I use up whole packets of things over time and I'm not actually throwing out product that I bought because it went bad, because I didn't plan right for it, it really is so satisfying. And it just turned out so nicely today. So, in that way. So, there we go. The cilantro in there. So, the traditional way that I typically do our, okra is through boiling it, and I'll have it with beans or cornbread. But there are many ways to do this. So, and it really looks great. It really looks lovely already. I'm going to add some more oil just because it seems like my okra is charring a little bit already. So you can also turn down the heat. And then I'm going to put the seasoning in and let it saute for like 10 minutes. And then that will be done. So I said we need a cumin, chili powder. Basically, you would need a curry mix for this. Turmeric also. Also, if you have fenugreek seeds, those can be used. And you can add the chili powder to taste. Or red pepper. And you can serve this as a side. As a side, it probably serves about 4. But if you're doing it as an entree, it's probably more of 2. I'm doing it as a lunch entree. And I'll probably put an egg on top, like I said, just for the extra protein. But I'm also going to add some nuts. So maybe I won't add egg because mine's nuts. So really up to you. I like to add nuts to green beans and of that nature. Also to any kind of rices that I'm making, particularly since I tend to make cauliflower rice. I like to do that way. So we're going to let that saute. And we are going to move on to our meatballs. Meatballs, yes. So I have ground turkey here. And for this, you'll also want some garlic and some onion, the mushrooms, whatever you like to put in your spaghetti. I probably should use a bigger bowl for this one. I think I do have a better bowl for this. Not bigger, but it'll work. And you'll want to add whatever seasoning you usually use for your meatballs. So any kind of poultry seasoning, parsley, Italian seasoning, all of that would be great. So you'll want an egg for this, and some Parmesan cheese, some almond flour. You can even add some spinach if you'd like. I like meatballs with spinach, so I will probably add that. So, okay. The egg is just going to help keep it together. I forgot to add my red pepper, which is weird for me considering how much I enjoy that. So let me get that going. So I'm going to pull out my spinach while I'm thinking about that. And I also had leftover tomato soup for this, so I'm going to use that. But you can make, you can use your plum tomatoes and all of that. I'm not going to just because I said I have sauce already. I am going to use what I have. You can use whatever works for you. Alright, so here we go. That's that. I'm not sure what I went in there for. You may want to add some water to the skillet for the okra, just because it seems to stick. So. And if you don't want to make this into a vegetarian option, you could add chicken. You can add sausage. I'm going to keep it vegetarian though. So, red pepper. Oh, that's what I was going in there for, the spinach. I found a little cheese stick in there. I was like, oh, great. So I'm going to use some of the spinach for this. for other things as well. So actually, what I'm probably going to do is make a salad with my spinach. So I'm not going to use it all in all these dishes today, but I am going to put some of it in. Just because I really like spinach. So putting it into the pan with the okra, the curried okra. You really want the onions to get really tender. So however long that takes, that'll probably signify how long it's going to take for the okra as well to cook. So almond flour or regular flour, whatever works for you. Like I said, I like to put a bit of spinach in my meatball. Some people also like to put mozzarella and things inside of it. You can make stuffed meatballs that way. So it's really up to you. So once again, a very therapeutic process here in that, you know, we're combining all these ingredients, and you want to make sure you season this well. I know I don't think I put nearly enough black pepper here. Or I didn't even put any Italian seasoning yet. So I'm just trying to put in the clumpier kind of ingredients first. And if you are cooking for someone who really doesn't like vegetables, this is a really kind of sneaky way to put that in there, right? Like, oh, wow. Okay. Didn't realize the lid came off. Okay. So they do get some vegetable content in this. Now, is it a ton? No, but it can be a start for someone. So I'm just gonna put my almond flour on here to kind of roll it into that. There we go. And now I've put all the Italian seasoning in here. The dispenser top came off, so I actually put quite a bit in there, but you can do it, season it to whatever you prefer. Some people like things really, really seasoned. Some people prefer it on the lighter end, so do whatever works for you. I like big meatballs, so I am going to make these fairly large. Once again, whatever works for you here. And you'll just roll it in the almond flour. And by the time we finish these, it'll be time to switch out the pan and we can put the meatballs in and start working on our sauce and the spaghetti and all of that. So and if you don't want to make it with spaghetti, because we've already put spinach in it, you could really just have it as giant meatballs with some sauce and make it into a soup. It's really whatever you want. I just really had a taste for spaghetti, so I decided to do it this way, but you can do however you want. That's a big one. So I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. Y'all can see me here. These are actually coming out beautifully. And the nice thing when you make the meatballs a bit thicker, while they may take longer to cook, they don't break down as easily. I don't want to do a meat sauce. You could do a meat sauce and just put the ground turkey or ground beef or whatever meat you're using, or not, or even plant-based option. You can just put the ground portion of that in a pan. But I didn't want to do that this time because, like I said, I really like to kind of dig my fork into the meatball I really enjoy that. So, but as I said, part of this being therapeutic is that you get to make the rules here. Sometimes in life we don't get to make the rules. And when we feel out of control, that can bring about anxiety. So here we focus on being intentional with what we're doing and also giving ourselves the freedom to do what we like. There's no judgment here. There is just what you like to eat. So, and the okra is looking really great. I just have to say that. And just in time, because I think any longer and our okra would be charged. So it's kind of serendipitous that worked out in that way. So there we go. I'm done with the meatballs here. And if you wanted to, you could even do a meatloaf, right? And with some mashed potatoes. There's so many options and so many ways to use similar ingredients. It's just a different cooking process for it. So you can use the almond flour. You can use panko if you'd like. Actually, I'm not going to clean that up too much because we're actually going to use it for the chicken nuggets as well. So that'll be next. But let's turn this off for just a second. I'm going to get my container together for the okra because that is actually done. And like I said, you could add tomato soup to that or crushed tomatoes and make a stew with that as well. Like I said, there are many ways to make this into a different meal. Since I'm already doing spaghetti, I don't necessarily want to do it this time, but you can. And I encourage you to get creative with it. Maybe this time you sauteed the okra and you said, okay, that's sufficient. Maybe I'll put an egg on top or something like that, or I'll add some nuts so that can be a balanced entree for me. But maybe you also say, you know what? Next time I'm going to make it into a stew. Or I'm going to add some beans and add protein that way. Or I'm going to add sausage and make it kind of into a heartier meal. So I'm going to show you all what our okra looks like with that. So guys, that is our okra there. Really a beautiful glaze on that. So that's done. I'm going to go ahead with my garlic infused olive oil. The pan is already fortunately heated because we're using the cast iron skillet that we used for okra.